Good afternoon. Today's Tuesday, January the 8th, 2019. I'm calling the Golf Course Advisory Board City of Pharr to order. Item 1, a roll call.
George Gonzalez,
Present.
Oscar Villagomez, Javier Martinez,
Here.
Eliseo Avendaño,
Here.
Javier Garcia,
Here.
Jaime Villarreal,
Here.
Rudy Martinez,
Here.
Artemio Palacios,
Here.
Juan Willingham.
Here. Well, you all heard the roll call, and there was one absent. And it's Oscar Villagomez. Do I have a...
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Mr. Villagomez.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion to the floor from Member Gonzalez, second by Member Willingham.
It died for lack of a motion.
Okay, any discussion on his absence? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Oscarito, you're excused. Okay, go to item 2, administrative report. A, approval of minutes for December the 11th, 2018, regular call meeting. And let me, before we start going into the report, I went ahead and made the change.
Okay.
Because I know that Rudy Martinez was absent, and also Sergeant Willingham, he couldn't make it in time, so he. But in the on the typing on the report they left, they did put a member, one Willingham present, and they didn't. I just moved him to absent, but he was excused. Okay, so just for the record.
Like to second that? Is that your motion, Mr. Chairman?
Well,
Do we have to?
well, I make a motion with a change.
I'd like to second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion by me, and second by Member Gonzalez. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved. B, consideration and action evaluating on revenue and expenditure report for the month of October and November 2018.
Mr. Chairman, did we approve the minutes or did we approve the change?
We approved the
The minute-
minutes
the
with the
minutes have
change.
ch- the minutes
With
have
the
changed.
change.
Okay.
Correct?
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. We'll start with the month of October. The revenue and expenditure report for October. Revenues amounting to $56,455 and some change, with expenditures of $63,923. Revenues minus revenues less expenditures for the month netted out to be $7,468. Moving over into the month of, moving over into the
Yeah.
food and beverage for October. Yes.
I was asking the chairman if we could stop you after, you went through
I
a
have
couple
a
of
question.
things. If we have a question
Sure.
before it gets.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go.
Isn't that a little bit high, that expenditure in November?
In November, once I got to that, yes, sir, it is high, but if you take a look at it, it's a matter of the timing of the invoices. It's a
Okay.
matter of the timing of the invoices coming in, but when you add up the expenditures for October and November comparatively to October and November of prior year, it's a matter of basically about $10,000 total. So it's just a matter of timing of invoices and when things hit that made it, that makes that look relatively low one month and high the next month.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. but I just-
Oh, no.
The,
You can ask.
did you all want me to go over, do
Right.
you want me to combine October and November together, or do you want me to do it month by month?
Because we're looking at it, you just,
Okay.
I mean,
So we
The
got,
difference.
so I mentioned October, so we'll go into the food and beverage aspect for the month of October then.
Mike,
Yes.
for a second, just for the board members, if you, during his report, if you like, Member Villarreal, no, he has a question, you can just acknowledge, no, and go ahead and ask
Yes.
before we continue moving to the next item.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mike.
For the food and, for the food and beverage for the month of October, we've had, and we'll look at the beer revenue. Beer revenue was $2,307 with a cost of $367, showing a profit of $1,940 and some change. Food revenue and cost,
Mike,
yes,
excuse me. October was 2,300.
Yeah,
You said 3,000.
no, I said
It's November.
2,300.
yeah,
Oh, he did?
yeah.
I thought you said 3,000. It's okay.
For
I just
November,
wanted to,
yeah.
go ahead.
Food revenue for the month of October, $4,878.43 with a cost of $1,341, showing a net profit of $3,500 and basically $3,537. Now, when we combine those two, along with the, when we factor in payroll, of $5,458.52, we are going to get
A negative.
our result is going to be, as a matter of fact, gentlemen, our result is going to be a combination of the October and November, as you can see. So I will go over the net result for the food and beverage department with October and November combined.
So there was a net loss of $1,500?
For October and November, that is correct. The, what I noticed on that compared to last year, October and November, it was a difference of, basically, it was, looking at it and comparing numbers, we had $8,500 last year in October and November for payroll. This year, we had $10,800. We were short-staffed last year, so on, and that's why the payroll cost was lower in 2017 than what it is this year.
So-
And play was down considerably because of the weather and
weather,
everything else.
Yeah. Mike, let me ask you another question. You have four cooks?
We have,
One, two,
correct.
three, four.
We have 2 full-time cooks
That's
and
my
2
question.
part-time. And
Okay.
part-time are basically 18-hour-a-week part-time employees.
Okay.
Now, if we go into the revenue and expenditures for the month of November, go back to being. You will see that the revenue for the month of November was $95,248, and with expenditures of $110,189. Again, that low in October, high in November, and that had to do with the timing of invoices. So with a net loss of $14,941.11. Looking at the revenue, gentlemen, I'm kind of an optimist when I'm looking at this. If you take a look at October and November of 2008, 2017 and 18, relatively flat. But we sure had, if we would have had any type of decent weather, I believe that we totally could have been, the numbers would have been so much better improved. And we've already, let me briefly touch upon the the kitchen revenue for the month of November. Kitchen revenue, beer-wise, was $3,059 with a cost of $1,452 for a net profit of $1,607. Food revenue was $5,125 with a cost of $2,972, giving us a net profit of $2,152. Now, when we combine those, because we've already gone over the payroll part for October and November, so when we combine the 2 months into the total beer revenue and the total food revenue, minusing the cost out of the payroll, again, the cost of the beer and the cost of the food, for the 2 months, we have a negative loss of $1,563.
How much is our beer? I should know.
Beer is $2.50, some is $3, some is $3.50.
You don't think that the, Mr. Chairman? You don't think that, maybe we're, down because our beer is a little high and people are going home and
No.
drinking beer and the,
We haven't changed. We only went up on the, we've kept the $2.50 beer, the Coors Light, everything else. We went up on the imports, and we're still cheaper than what other golf courses are around. We only went up a quarter,
okay.
so on. So no, I don't believe that's the case. I think I think things are relatively flat, if so on, due to the fact that we have
Bad weather.
weather, number one, and the fact is I don't believe all the winter Texans were down in October and November like they have been, or
Right.
like past trends have shown. Okay, so I think once you see December, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the numbers in December.
And probably the weather holds January too.
Yes, yes. So that basically, that's all the information I have concerning the October and November revenue and expenditure report.
Any questions on expenditure and a report, or the revenue and expenditure report? Any questions before we move to the next item?
I think, is this an action item? It is, is this an action item?
It's a, yeah, you have to,
You do.
motion to approve.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I need a motion.
Two separate ones,
And
one
did
for
you have
October,
any
one for November.
discussion right now? But I need a motion to,
So move.
okay, motion by member Villarreal,
Second.
second by member
approve the
Willingham
expenditure
to
report.
approve the revenue and expenditure report for the month of October, November 2018. All in favor? Aye. Okay, to approve, then we go, item C, status report for the golf course operation for the month of January.
All right, gentlemen. Those are your last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last 6 pages in your packet. I'm gonna jump around here a little bit, so please bear with me. We'll start with the greens. Again, we're using, because of the cold weather and everything else, we're using iron and potassium more frequently during the cool and cold weather to maintain the health of the greens, and we're also using wetting agents to maintain moisture levels in case of a frost. Now that we're on the green subject, I'd like for you to turn to the following page, please. Where we talked about the aerification and what is happening and so on. And this is where Eddie Lopez, our superintendent, he downloaded some weather information for you all just to make it, just so you all are more knowledgeable on the timing of things and what transpired. The October 9th and 10th is when we aerified the greens, which he uses to help create more oxygen to the roots and maintain healthy root, to get more oxygen to the roots and maintain the plant root itself. Unfortunately, we experienced an unexpected early winter, which you could take a look at beginning. The yellow lines are when we aerified, the 9th and 10th. So if you go down through that if you go down to column 5, short time after, the temperature departure from normal. Look at all those negatives that were happening.
You're talking about from the left to the right?
I'm
five?
talking about column,
On number 9?
on column 5
Oh,
on,
okay. 1, 2, okay.
and the temperature norm, the
Oh, I
departure
see,
from normal.
I see.
So, they had a first cold front October 16th, and that came with rain and clouds with most of the month of October. And November brought 3 days of frost on the 14th, 15th, and 16th, which is outlined on your second page. Point being is that, when we aerified the greens in first part of October, weather was fantastic for it, so on, and then whammo. Few days afterwards, we got hit by a cold snap. Totally unexpected, so we are playing catch up at this point again and doing some further research on this. Eddie and myself are both on the same page that the aerifying that we may be doing or that's happening in October is probably not going to happen again for various reasons. 2 years in a row. So on, and with the weather snap, we're probably not gonna go through this process again. So that basically gives you a synopsis of the timing of the aerification, the weather change, and the fact is the 3 days of frost that happened in November. And for all of you that are familiar with it, we normally don't get frost in November. That's unforeseen. So.
Well, if I can add,
Yeah.
so Mike, so you're gonna move it up then
Gonna-
to September?
No.
October?
No,
Or what?
I mean, I'm on the side of the fence of not even doing it. For
Yearly,
the-
how many times do you?
We
do that?
aerate twice.
Twice.
Once in the fall and once in the spring, coming out of it to help with the root growth. If anything, maybe once, but the whole thing is what we have learning and what we've discovered is these greens are sand-based, okay? They don't have the subsoil and the texture that a normal, we'll just say normal USGA green has, so on. So what you're doing is you're hurting the root because the cold weather that comes in and stints it, goes down and stints it. And it doesn't have, on a regular USGA built green, it has a barrier. It has, correct. It's got some levels of silt to it, and it's got levels of texture, okay? Sand-based greens do not. Boom, once the grass comes down, they're sand-based, and that's it, okay? So on. So the research and the research that we've done and the questions we have asked is that we're going to shy away from that practice in the fall, which is actually good because that opens up an extra week for a tournament in October, so on and so forth, and we go from there, so on. But something has to change, gentlemen, it does. I mean, obviously, the condition of the greens is not where I want it to be, is not where you guys expect it to be, so on. So something has to change, and it has to come from an agronomic practice. And aerification is going to be part of it.
Can I ask, our greens, what grass do we have on our greens?
It's a Bermuda hybrid.
Okay.
It's different than what other.
That was my next question.
Yeah, it's a
Is it-
Bermuda hybrid. Yeah.
So it is not what these other courses around the
No, and
area
plus
have?
they have a different subsoil. These other golf courses have too.
And
They're built differently.
if I may,
Oh, go ahead.
And Mike, They're real fast. I mean, I'm not a very good golfer, but if you've played, they're extremely fast.
Correct.
Is that because of how you're cutting them, or?
No, the fact it's not growing.
It's-
They're not growing. I mean, Ed, what happens is that if we can't get at least a basket off every 4 greens, 5 greens, whatever it is, when we're mowing, we don't mow. It's just not worth it. So we roll them.
Yeah.
We still have the roller
Well,
in place.
good.
and
Keep
everything
rolling them
else,
because
yeah.
they're real fast.
We have the roller in place, and that's what's happening.
And so you don't expect that grass to grow until the spring, or what?
We don't expect the grass to grow until it gets to 150 degrees. And I'm going to give you the 150 degree scenario. High temperature during the day, low temperature at night. Once you add those two numbers up and it's above 150, grass is going to germinate, it's going to grow. So if it's 80 degrees during the day but goes down to 45 at night, you know, stuff, it's going to stunt it. Anything gained during the day you're not going to get as much out of. So typically, once we get the weather, once we get the high during the day and the low at night, combined to get over 150, then we're going to be getting some growth. And plus, as the days get longer, as the days are getting longer now. I mean, it's getting dark till it's getting dark after 6 o'clock now. Before it was, so I think that'll be the main thing. But you're right, the speed is good. That's what people have commented on. And again, golfers are finicky. You can get away with greens that don't look good, but if they putt good, and people will overlook color. But if they don't roll good and they're inconsistent, so on, then yeah, then you're gonna have some questions. to
No,
answer.
they're all rolling about the
Yeah,
same,
yeah.
and they're pretty fast, man.
They bite. They're biting.
Yeah, and
too.
they're biting. And that's an improvement, again, that's an improvement of what we were going through, last year also, because last year they weren't. So on, so. Going on to the tee boxes now. Going back to that first page, using the fire ant bait to kill the fire ant mounds and applying slow release liquid foliar fertilizer to maintain the health of the tees. The fairways, continue flushing out heads and lines and changing the inlet valves and the sprinkler heads to stop the small leaks on the fairways. Now, if we take a look, I told you we're going to jump around a little bit. Take a look going to your last 2 pages, 5 and 6, where we talk about irrigation, where the pictures, and these are recent, gentlemen, and we are still fighting this battle. Where it says irrigation, they've been flushing the heads out and even added a flush valve behind the driving range, and they've been experiencing less and less stuck or clogged heads on the course after watering overnight. This is a latest picture. We're still experiencing that stuff coming through. That was one of the things that was mentioned when we were having our analysis done. They took a look and they were even pulling sprinklers up and seeing what we have. Problem with that is that, you know, you got over 1,000 heads on that golf course. It's going to take some time, because that's the only way you're going to notice that, besides putting some molluscicide into our fertigation pump, is you're going to notice a stuck head, and that's going to be the cause of it. Cause right there, along with, of course, the example of a shell inside the diaphragm on another sprinkler. One unforeseen thing, one unforeseen problem we had is that we are down to 1 pump. I don't know if anybody's realized that or been told that. We can't get ahead. We can't get ahead when it comes to the irrigation. So we are down to trying to water the golf course with 175 horsepower pump. We had the main 75 horsepower pump and the pressure maintenance pump, called a jockey pump. They both went out. Okay, they went out back in late November or December. Problem is that time frame, holidays, suppliers and everything else, earliest we can get this back up and going is January 18th to the 25th. So we've been trying to water as much as we can as far as the greens go and the fairways with one 75 horsepower pump, and can't get there, obviously. You see the conditions, so on. It's not, you know, the greens are getting taken care of, which is the most important part, but rest of the golf course, including the fairways, so on, tee boxes are not getting what they need, so on. So again, once we get our two pumps back, we have the inline filtration system now. We have the fertigation system in. We have our new computer operating system there. We should be, as they say, Cadillacing and be done with the irrigation problems and just work on getting rid of the snails and the debris that collect in the heads, so on. So that's just going to take some time. So once we get back to what I'm going to consider normal, with the ability to irrigate properly, getting all aspects of the golf course on a schedule like we have been in the past. So that, like I said, we will get there. But again, that was unforeseen. Some of the other things that superintendent would like for you to be aware of is that there has been a noticed decline in gas and diesel consumption since the cameras have been installed at the maintenance barn.
How much? I'm curious, how big of a difference has it been?
Considerable.
Gallons?
Gallons.
Hundreds of gallons?
Ordering twice a month down to once a month. I think that'd be right, correct? Is that what, about right as far as the ordering goes, as far as the invoicing goes? You don't get those?
It has nothing to do with new machinery or anything?
No.
Doing better consumption on gas? No? Diesel?
Same equipment.
Same equipment?
Same equipment.
Very interesting.
Working on putting on cement containment wall for those gas tanks. During the slow times, they cleaned out the shop to make it more organized for safety reasons. Moved the high school storage sheds away from the shop area with the help of the PSJ maintenance department for safety reasons. They've had a chainsaw safety class with the Texas A&M Forest Service to learn about proper chainsaw safety and the proper way to cut a tree, which I hope we will utilize by being able to prune back a tree better than leaving barbs sticking out all over the place. Cut it the way at the trunk, so to speak, rather than leaving bars out, so on and so forth. And of course, we purchased new bunker rakes. Moving into the clubhouse section, Winter Texan Tournament, the Welcome Back Tournament was on December 10th. Had basically 9 fewer participants than prior year, but overall it was considered a success. Upcoming tournaments, we've got on January 21st, we have the PSJA Junior Varsity, and then on the 25th and 26th of January, we have the PSJA Varsity Girls Tournament. Our new mobile app went into effect October 1st, and I encourage you all, if you have not done so yet, I encourage you all to go to the App Store and download it. The app contains GPS, a loyalty program, and contact information as long as our rates. It's another way for us to market Tierra del Sol that I've personally have taken kind of underneath my wing to make sure that we get better marketing done and get the programs that we're running out there to the public and just get more visible under the public eye.
Mike, can I ask, on the loyalty program, I thought I had seen it, and maybe I'm incorrect, or maybe it's still there, but was there one where you bought, like, on your 5th round, it was a free round or something?
See, and that's what we're going to.
Is it there?
Yes,
Or
sir.
It is there?
It's there.
Okay. 'Cause I thought I saw it and I didn't see it again.
Yeah, it's there.
It is there?
It should,
Okay.
yeah. I saw it, as a
Say
matter of
maybe I'm
fact,
mistaken,
I
but I
saw it there
haven't-
Saturday. So, because I get in there,
Yeah,
weekly. Yeah.
Like a punch card, right?
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
that's
be
basically, I'll just give you down the road,
an
gentlemen.
incentive to come in more often, frequent the
Correct.
golf course more often.
Correct, and that is, I'll let you all know that down the road, my long-term plan is that is going to replace the punch card. That's what we're
Okay.
gonna go
Does that
to.
work? That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. The online tee time portal, along with being able to book tee times, is still not complete yet. Our IT department is having some issues, trying to get through a certain firewall, and again, it's work in progress. Driving range lights have met with minimal success, but again, it's in its infancy stages, and it is on, it is on the app, and there's certain promotions that kind of go along with that, that you can utilize at night, so on. So, kind of takes effect. Like if you want to come in and use it at night, whatever, there's a promotion on there where you can buy 4 beers. 4 beers, you can get a free bucket of range balls. You kind of go out there during the night and hit some balls and have a couple beers after work and unwind, stuff like that. And then finally, just an FYI from talking to some people that deal with Winter Texans day in, day out. They say that basically Winter Texan traffic is down about 30% from about 5 years ago, although it is compared to prior year, it's flat. So the traffic is flat, and they've also noticed that 5 parks. They also mentioned that 5 parks have closed in the last few years. So which kind of leads us to thinking that October and November may not be as lucrative as in years past. So as far as the status report for the golf course, Chairman Board, that concludes the status report for the golf course operation.
Can I add something, Mr. Chairman? I think if in hindsight, if we already know that for the last couple of years, we can't really depend on Winter Texans for those 2 months, I think it's to our advantage to try and plan what we can do to get more locals to use the course, so that we can try and make up the difference.
Agreed. And that's where the app and everything else that I'm hoping to do,
Yeah.
use that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think there's be something to be said too about the rates and everything, when they take place, when they should take place, so on and so forth, and giving October, November, just having more value-added programs in place for the locals,
If
stuff
you're gonna
like
spend
that.
$110,000 in November, that means you have the labor already being used. You have these 2-for-1 deals or what have you, you're gonna bring in more people wanting to buy beer, food, and more foot traffic already. I mean,
Correct, and it just stand, the numbers are, the trend and the numbers are dictating that October and November aren't what it used to be.
are flat.
Mike, have you seen any changes now, or the increasing, or people coming in, because I know the next item will be, the lights, driving range, Top Golf. I know, that I go by, drive by, and it's packed all the time. But
because
have we got anything, you notice any?
Have we gotten any extra side business? If it is, it's negligible. I'm only gonna tell you, because there's people coming out that, in the evenings when I'm there, I'll ask the staff, have you seen these people before? And they'll say no. So that leads me to believe that maybe we are getting some new, different traffic coming out. As far as golf itself, playing the game, no. I would like to think that the Top Golf, and especially when the weather gets warmer, changes, and with the lights on, I would like to think that that's when we'll notice a difference.
I don't know, I know it's pretty expensive here at
Well, it's
Top
very
Golf.
expensive.
It's, for the charge you per hour, and then you got your food and drinks and whatever. No,
Yeah.
if we could do some advertisement and kind of offer something out here, at the driving range. That you're gonna have popcorn, you're gonna have hamburgers at a certain price. Maybe we
A lot
can
of their
lure some of those
business,
people
You-
because
You're not going to attract people with, the reason they go there is because of the the beers
It's
and the
more of a bar
food,
and
it's more
grill.
like of a bar deal.
It's a
We'd
social
never-
It's a
event.
sports
Yeah,
bar.
we could
It's
never-
a
we
sports
could
bar.
never compete.
It's a sports bar with golf attached
we
to
could
it, is
never
what it is.
compete.
It's like the main
pool
event.
hall.
The way they market it, it's for a family atmosphere. Us over here is for an avid golfer.
Right, right.
Over there, it's gonna be more for your,
Yeah. Once in a long while.
It's a
Just
time.
asking.
So, no, time will tell. Plus, too, you never. I mean, everybody wishes Top Golf to do well, stuff like that. But
Yeah, but
human
right
nature,
now-
human nature will be the newness will wear off,
Yeah.
and then
That's
that's
exactly
when.
what I was gonna say.
Novelty right now.
So,
Yeah,
so
by
then that's
summer,
maybe
nobody
when we'll
is
start
gonna go 'cause they're
noticing.
too
I
expensive.
haven't been back since I hit a couple of balls there. Now I hit the net in center field. No, they won't let me hit the ball anymore. So
Hey, Mr. Chairman, if,
Not sure if that was a joke.
okay. Last time we were here, we were going to discuss the situation where the men's club accumulates money into the pro shop, all right? And it can only be spent on items in the pro shop or buckets of balls. And my Winter Texan friends and the men's league,
Even everybody.
and yeah,
Just
I
the
mean,
general
they
public.
they keep telling us that they'd like to use the money in the kitchen. You know, it's their money. I mean, every year, I mean,
green
or for green fees. I am not a great player, but every year I have about $150 to $200 after.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder, since it's not an item, if we should put that item. I think that's an important item, because I've heard that before from other individuals. If that's something that we can put on maybe next month's agenda and discuss.
yeah, as I mentioned before, now if you have a night, something to bring up, call Myra.
I thought it was gonna be on this.
I thought we had.
Tell them you like to put this item on the agenda. So
Oh, who do I,
Who do we-
who do we
Something,
tell?
I know.
so
Mike?
I
We
mean, if you
tried to
have
table
something,
it last
something like
month.
this,
Yeah.
put it down.
I think we should include it in next month's item, agenda, Mike, because I've heard it from other individuals as well. So I think if some of us have heard it, then there's probably other people out there too.
Every time they see me, they say, "Have you talked to him?" No.
Who?
The Winter Texans.
This is a board item that we approved, that you
No.
utilize the money there in the.
No, no.
So it's
This
gonna
is
be Mike.
this
Mike
is
the
a
one.
management decision.
Okay,
Okay?
so I don't see no
That is
problem with that.
management.
I mean, let's go ahead and discuss
Can I
it.
ask a managerial question? Mike, did we ever get an update on that foresight with all that company
Management,
that came in and they left me in the dark? I don't know. I don't know about anybody else on the board, but
No, but you talk about the report,
yes.
well, he's
Any
gonna cover a
update
little
or
bit of that,
anything
no?
that you can share with us at this
I
moment?
can't share anything with you all right now.
You cannot share
I
anything
cannot.
with us.
I cannot.
It's a-
The fact is,
gotta
it
be
is,
executive session.
city, the city does have the report back, and I've seen a copy of it, so on. It's being reviewed, to
Not
see.
finalized. in
It's
other
not
words.
finalized, that's the best way to put it. It's not
well, if you can't
finalized.
share it, then don't share it, and
No,
then
no,
when you
that's
do,
why
you
I'm
will,
asking, yeah.
Oh,
and-
absolutely.
right? We don't wanna get you in any trouble either.
But will we hear something soon, or?
That's really, I need to ask that question to find out when it will be finalized. I'll find out, and then I can let you all know when that'll be.
If you're in good with the mayor, no, have a cup of coffee with him,
Who's outside? Bring him in.
and he can bring you up to date. Mike, you down to the last item,
I did it already.
driving range with lights?
Yeah, he
You
did,
covered
yeah.
it already.
You already did? Okay. Anything else you wanna bring up to the board?
I'm fine.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions before we go to item 3? Any?
Chairman.
Before we
Mike,
adjourn?
I noticed you hiked the price on the wings. You're having a good success on.
Yeah, correct. The price went up 10 cents a wing. Neg-
No, it's nothing much, but I was just
Went up
wondering,
10 cents. a wing.
was it
So
the wings
are
went
back
up?
on Tuesday, it went up from 55 to 65.
Yeah.
Because they made
After,
them bigger.
after after a mandatory count, after we did a
Yeah, 'cause
count
I was there
on
today.
that, on exactly how many wings are the box, what have you, a 10-cent price increase was
That's fine,
necessary.
but I just
Which
heard
is still really
you know,
good.
the winter people that are golfing, they came in, they looked at, it went up. They were like, complaining, of course.
Yeah, but they're
always
not,
do.
I mean, but after,
know, it's-
we need to raise them a dime.
You did?
They're imported.
I was just wondering.
Not anything
not
drastic to
complaining, they just
15,
say-
20 cents, a dime to cover what we need to cover.
Okay. Or
me ask
talking
you-
behind my back, I those
Let me ask
golfers,
a member
Hey,
of
went up
Vendaño,
65 cents now, like, of course, they'll complain over a nickel, man, so.
member of Vendaño,
Yes.
who was that, Oscarito?
What?
Cut that out?
Oh, yeah. He was gonna bring it up, so I thought I'd bring it up, okay? He's not here, so-
Okay, so we're gonna go to item 3 now. Before
Thank you,
we
gentlemen.
adjourn, I do wanna, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
We're almost to the second year. I need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second,
Second.
A motion by member Villarreal, second by
Martinez.
Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Member Martinez. Any discussion, anything else? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey.
Vámonos a la chingada.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. 6:11.